I found a guitar on Marketplace, as one does, and it's a bit rough around the edges, but it's a decent deal. It's a little bit risky because I don't know anything else about it, but I thought for $150 it's worth the risk. I got it. Let's put it on the bench and see what it needs to be a great guitar. We'll also make some music with it. I have a few things to say about this guitar. So after a thorough inspection, I quickly realized this instrument just needed a good deep cleaning. All the factory plastic, it was still under all the knobs in the pickups, and there was just lots of loose bolts and screws. There were clear signs that it had just been sitting untouched for years, just collecting dust. The strings were completely rusted out. I honestly felt like after I strummed a few chords, I had to wash my hands right away. And the setup was okay. It was playable, but definitely not comfortable. I knew with some adjustments I could get it feeling really good, like a gig-worthy instrument. These higher-tiered Squiers have built up a solid reputation for being very reliable and sometimes even total workhorses with the right setup. And to my surprise, it wasn't as much of a basket case as I thought it would be. When I got it home and I plugged it in, everything worked electronically. There was no buzzing or dead pickups. It just felt neglected, like it had been sitting unplayed for several years, which it was. Here's a quick tip if you're trying to make your guitar feel better to play. This gets overlooked a lot, and it's your frets. So over time, your frets collect grime, sweat, and oils from your hands, and that buildup doesn't look like much, but it can make your bends feel sticky, it kills your sustain, and it stops your strings from ringing out clearly. Now, you're not trying to remove fret material with this process, you just want to clean the surface. So a little bit of steel wool works great, along with some fret guards so you can protect your fingerboard. An important step in this process is to cover up your pickups before you do this, because the steel wool leaves behind tiny metal shavings and your pickups will attract that stuff immediately. Once you polish and restring, you'll feel the difference, especially if your frets looked dull and lifeless before. Trust me, this one is worth doing. I remembered something that the seller said when we met. They told me that they bought it back in 2013 and they barely touched it since then. Now, I'm not going to judge them. That's a story I hear all the time. Life happens. Interests shift. Not everybody sticks with it. But the cool thing is, this guitar made its way to me, and I care deeply about these things, and I can nerd out and do this all day. I feel like the guy from Toy Story when he's fixing Woody, and I get to help this guitar become the best version of itself. It doesn't have much of a history yet, but hopefully, now that it's cleaned up, set up, and ready to go, it'll finally get the playing time it deserves, and it'll start collecting stories of its own. I threw on some 10 gauge strings, and those have become the standard for me. And I just cleaned it up, made some slight tweaks on the truss rod and the saddles, and that's all it really needed. Now it plays clean, it holds tune, and it feels way better than it did when it showed up. A good guitar doesn't always need to be a full overhaul. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of attention, and it's pretty simple stuff to do. You can do it yourself. But now it's time to hear what this sounds like. don't think that was bad for $150. I really didn't know what I was getting into at first, but going through this process, I'm really happy with the results. I think we made a fantastic playing instrument, especially for the price. If you liked this video, consider interacting and let me know what you thought about the repair process or what kind of guitar I should be looking out for next. I'm always on the hunt for unique pieces of gear or things that have been neglected in the past. I really enjoy the process of restoring them, giving them a second life, and possibly giving them a new home to where they will be played. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to not sleep on Marketplace.